Okay, well, I'm going to do a quick example from homework from Module 2. It's the last problem where there's not any helps posted except for the help from the instructor. So that's what I'm going to do now. I'm going to show you which one I'm talking about. It is this problem right here. Okay, so it's number 15. You can see that if you go and look at the bottom of the screen, the only helps that are there just says ask my instructor. So I'm going to tell you. So I'm going to do these, work it out in parts here. This is something that some of you that are going on to study calculus or the business calculus will see this again. So this is a fairly useful little expression here. So let me go to the paper and we will, well, right there, and we'll work this out. Okay, so this is number 15. Everybody's going to be given a different kind of quadratic function like this. And then when we put the x plus h in place of the x, that's when we're going to start working on what we call the difference quotient. So this right here is just the first part of this. So we're going to take where the x is, replace it with x plus h. Every place where we see x, we're going to write in parentheses x plus h. Make sure you get that correct with the square on the outside of those. Now you have to remember how to expand something that's been squared. This is really just taking x plus h times x plus h and working all that out. It's going to be more than just x squared plus h squared. There's also going to be a h times x and x times h. So it's going to look like this. You'll have x squared plus 2xh plus h squared. That's what that happens when you expand that. Now I'm going to distribute my -4. And then we should have a couple of terms that we can, no, we need to have nothing that can combine. Every one of these is a different type of a term, you see. Whole bunch. Okay. So that's what happens when you change x to x plus h and then simplify it. All right, now this right here, where we go and take the function defined at x plus h and we subtract the original function, that's called the difference quotient, or just called the difference. The difference quotient. What do you call that, Paul? The difference on the top when you do the f of x plus h minus f of x, what? That's called the something difference. I forget. No, it's not a quotient yet. It's just the difference. Oh, your change difference. Anyway, we're not sure what it's called, but it's part of a big important calculus concept. So let's go ahead and work this out. So we've already got this part from above, and then this just means subtract all the terms from your original function. So let me copy all that stuff down again. So we have x squared plus 2xh plus h squared minus 4x minus 4h plus 4. That's all my f of x plus h minus everything in the parentheses. Now, I got to be careful here when you're subtracting, of course, with more than one term. You want to make sure you're flipping the sign on every single term. So I'm going to be lazy and not do this again. I'm going to go ahead and distribute that minus in here. That'll make that a plus. That'll make that a minus. Okay, so I have an x squared. Now I'm going to put my like terms together. There's x squared, negative x squared. They cancel out. Look here, there's a minus 4x and a plus 4x. Those cancel out. And then we also have a constant term. There's a plus 4 and a negative 4, so those cancel out. So now let me bring down what else I have here that hasn't canceled out. So I get the 2xh. You get h squared minus 4h, and that's it. So that's what you get when you take the difference between the function at x plus h and subtract your original function and simplify. That's part B. And then we're trying to put all this together. At some point, you're going to hit a class where they just give you any random function and they want you to calculate the function using these rules at f of x plus h and then an f of x and work all this out and simplify it. And this is why you'll have some canceling that should happen. All right, the numerator is exactly what we have from part B. So I'm going to write down what I had here, plus h squared minus 4h. Divide it all by h. Okay, now here's the thing. We want to know how to simplify this. So this is kind of a big deal that when this simplifies, that this works out right. Because when you're dividing an irrational expression like this, when you have multiple terms in the numerator, they all share that same denominator. So you can either break it up into 3 separate fractions over h and reduce the h's if there are any that way. Or another way you could do it is to factor an h out. Since each one of these terms has an h in it, you could factor the h out ahead of time and then take out that h that you factored and cancel it with this down here. I think I'm going to do it that way. So I'm going to factor out an h, 2x. If I take h out or divide h squared by h, I'm going to be left with one more h like that over h. So I just factored the common factor of h out in front here. Okay. So when I do that, I'm going to cancel the h's. And this is what's going to be left. I'll have 2x plus h minus 4. So that's what you get. That's called the difference quotient. The difference is subtracting the 2 different values of the function up here. Quotient's dividing it by h. And that's what we're going to get. So that would be the whole answer to part C, would be x plus h minus 4. Okay, so I just wanted to go through the algebra on that a little bit. I think everybody has to do a different kind of quadratic. The parts I keep getting questions on would be when you plug the x plus h in for the x's here and here, make sure that when you square it, you're now squaring a binomial. It has 2 terms in it. Let's see if we can get that any clearer from the focus. You have x plus h squared, which really means this. So you have to FOIL it out, x, FOIL. And you're going to get this stuff here, minus the 4, and combine your like terms that way. Okay, so anyway, that's enough. That's just number, what was it? Number 15, the last homework problem, I think, from this section right here. I think this might be the first one after your Mod 1 test C. So I just want to make sure everybody could see the algebra on that if you're a little bit rusty. Okay, so hope that helps.